Wait, do I have to do the whole kin thing?
No, you can just start off with your. You don't have to do the intro. They'll add the intro in later.
Hey, fuckers! Welcome back to Four for the Road.
Hey, welcome back to Four for the Road, everybody.
All right. So here we are, Four for the Road. And today we have with us the Pasadena Motorcycle Club, founded in 1907. And we've been looking forward to this for a long time now. So if you guys could just do a quick introduction. We got Drifter and Murder Dave with us. So if you guys could just do a quick introduction about the past, and then tell us about the Pasadena Motorcycle Club.
Ready?
Yeah. I'm Julian Armstrong. I'm the president. I joined in 2008 and been with the club for 14 years now. I'll go into my introduction and then you can do yours, and then we can go into our history. Does that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sounds good. You're done?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. My name is Scott Glazier. I'm the active historian of the Pasadena Motorcycle Club. Keeping in mind that this year was the first year that the board member of historian was implemented into our Constitution. So that being said, I joined the club back in 2014 or 14. I think we should go into the.
Okay.
Yeah. You tell me what this thing's about, man.
Yeah. So we were established in May 1907. We started as an Enduro club, slowly transitioned into what we're now. We would do basically riding events. We spanned from dirt riding to, basically we started with dirt riding.
It was dirt. Yeah, there were no paved roads back then. And
essentially we kind of grew into a club that just appreciates those that ride. We changed. So initially we didn't have an outfit. There was no sweaters were before or after the day that we started wearing suits when we ride. And then we started racing. Right. They started racing and then wearing sweaters. And then I think it was around 2012 or 13 where started wearing these things. And I kind of brought this into the club just to have an identity because at the time we were all mismatched. We had guys wearing cuts with one patch on the front, nothing on the back. And then it was just patches everywhere. So I thought it was important to have some uniformity to the the identity. But yeah,
that's interesting that you guys did that. My own club did that in the 90s. But you're right. Before that, it was the sweaters and the jerseys and just T-shirts. Yeah. So did you get any pushback from the older guys?
Well, yeah, that's funny you say that because so when I joined in 2008, basically I'd show up, there'd be five members in the club, and half of them would drive and the other half would be riding. And they were stuck on old age, old values, old habits that essentially weren't going to be flourishing for the club. So, of course, when we brought in the patches, they all immediately didn't like the idea. But change needs to happen for us to build and grow. And I get that they're stuck in their old days, but they didn't like it.
They didn't. And just to clarify, I'm going to interject, but we don't call them old guys. We call them old spokes.
Old spokes.
Old spokes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Old spokes. Yeah. And we got to figure out what we asked the oldest spoke what he had for lunch, and that goes into our minutes every week.
Really?
Yeah.
Old business.
Meatloaf, chili.
Chili dog, you name it.
Yeah,
sometimes they eat yogurt, 2 tacos, 2 diapers. You never know.
And you really put that in the minutes.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the last part of our old business.
Reading of the minutes is probably the most fun part of it.
I would say as the club historian, kind of 2 things that interest me is, first of all, what kind of led you down that path of wanting to do that? And then, you talk about the minutes, and I always love when clubs are able to find old minutes. Is that something you've been able to track? And if so, like how far back are you able to go with minutes and stuff like that?
Okay, yeah. So the first question regarding what led me down the road of, back in 2014, when I was here riding solo, I ended up befriending one of our other club members, goes by the name of Trevor, or the other, it's Christian. He's his Christian name. Anyway, so I was really enthused about the history and how old and how the club was and how they were established using, let's say, all the way down to Robert's Rules of Order and keeping good minutes. And I'll get to that. But so that's what really sparked a passion in me, was to, we have a lot of things that come and go in our years. And then I just really wanted to keep upholding the fact that PMC would keep going strong for the next 100 years, 200 years. So regards to old minutes, how far back did those minutes go?
We go pretty far back. We have a file cabinet, and it's all written down. So it's not digital. We have to go through them one by one. And
they're all on microfiche, and you got to fax them. So, I mean, it's
carbon stone tablets.
So do you happen to have a year?
No, but going back to those files, some of the old things that we found was that we would do after some of our meetings is that the fastest rider in the club would jet as fast as he could for 40 miles at least, and all the weakerlings had to try and catch up to him and race to beat him in the Orange Grove fields in Pasadena. So those are some of the things that we found in the old minutes.
Man,
but there's some good pieces in there. You just have to go through them and remember everything that happened.
Yeah, it's
paper and pencil.
Yeah, paper and pencil, not pens. So I think half of it's all illegible, hard to read.
You guys really need to get those digitized so that
we do. I'm personally, I'm actually working with the Pasadena Museum of History actively, and we're working on they're actually having an exhibition come up, and they're going to have one of our old photos in it. But we do have some archives in that museum, and then they'll live on, and they have a good fireproof organization there.
That is very cool, man. Very, very cool.
And Skip also has a deep respect, I think, for the moment that I met him. He's always been very interested in the club and the club history. So I think from that day and day one, I think you've gotten more into that,
that was why I made the motion that we had to implement a club historian. We never had one. So I'm going to take that on. And then every year we have elections, and you never know what changes, but at the moment we have a really good crew, keeping things intact, and
doing a good job so far.
Well, right on. So I understand that y'all's Quonset Hut Clubhouse is a National Historic Landmark. So how did that happen, and is that an advantage or disadvantage, or it all washes out?
Oh, it's a major advantage. I mean, the legend has it that we purchased the building for $700 back in '47, but we are the initial owners of the Quonset Hut. So I think we moved in, I think '48, but we bought it in '47. And having property in that area itself is, I mean, give or take, it's great. I mean, back in the day for $700, I guess no one wanted it. There's dirt roads and half the houses that were there, right?
Yeah.
But they may saw it as storage, but we see it as a home. So it's definitely been beneficial, because otherwise we have to go to someone's house or garage to have a meeting, but we don't. We never had to.
And I think, for anybody that's listening to this podcast, if they didn't catch that or didn't already know, you said 1947 was when you guys moved into that current location?
Yeah, we purchased it in '47. We may have moved in like early '48, but Wikipedia says I think 40. They're off a year, but yeah, that's the date. Yeah, and I don't know what it was like.
When did it become a historic landmark? When did that designation happen?
recently.
Yes.
I believe we established that in 18 or 19, right? 19?
Well, yeah, we just recently had a plaque, a bronze plaque installed in the front, establishing its historicness.
So what does that mean?
We hesitate.
What does that mean?
Well, we hesitated initially because we knew that once you do that, you can't make any modifications on the building.
Mm-hmm.
But funny enough, now we're putting in a bathroom. So it's going to take some time. We've got the city to do the lines under the road. I don't think I'm saying anything illegal.
One thing we can divert to, the way we can divert this is that the bathroom, one of the main reasons that we will be having a bathroom is because we call them our sister club, the San Francisco Motorcycle Club, which is apparently established maybe 6 months before us.
No, they're 1904.
1904, so 3 years.
And then Yonkers is 03.
03, 04, and then 07.
Oakland. It was Oakland that was right after you guys.
By like 2 or 3 months, like by 3 months.
Right. So they gave us an incredible contribution to help us establish our bathroom. So that's the way I'm going to go ahead and divert that underground plumbing situation.
Thank you. Very nice.
Well, they gifted you the commode? What?
No, a very substantial, large cardboard check.
That we can take to Cape.
Nice.
Yeah, a very incredible generosity with that.
That's very cool of them.
So kind of piggybacking off of that and talking about, I heard some mention Yonkers, and San Francisco and obviously you guys and Oakland stuff. As you know, the forefathers of the motorcycle club scene, is there a relationship there? Is there conversations that happen, get-togethers, rides, anything like that? I mean, you mentioned having kind of that camaraderie with San Francisco and the big cardboard check, but is there other stuff that goes on with these historic motorcycle clubs?
We've had definite trips to their clubhouse meetings on Thursday nights. We've had rides out for their inaugurals, or not inaugurals, but their birthdays. So 110, I think 115. Skip and I have had some great stories going up there, though. But Oakland has been kind of on the backside of things. They attended our Pismo event. But we haven't done much with Oakland. Yonkers also attended that. Maybe 3 members came down from New York. But other than that, we have a very close relationship.
We have a great relationship with them. Yeah. And we're always working together to try to keep everybody moving in a forward direction, because we're truly here to continue on the legacy of how important motorcycling is.
And camaraderie,
all of it.
It's been a good brothership with these guys.
So you guys have always been a one chapter club, is that right? And
yeah.
Have you ever thought about having more than one chapter?
We have, because several of our members have moved out of state, but we haven't talked about that within our board, and that's not something we've even really discussed. It's something that's been on my mind, but how does that even? You have to start thinking, you have to start thinking of process. You have to think about a whole system in place, and we haven't even gone down that road. But it'd be nice to have that,
The Pasadena Motorcycle Club in Boston, Massachusetts.
Exactly. That's why. I think that's why. Yeah.
Exactly.
I get people asking me where our chapters. I'm like, well, Pasadena.
Yeah.
East Pasadena, South Pasadena.
We're gonna have to work on that one for 10, 15 more years.
Pasadena, Texas? No, Pasadena, California.
There is a Pasadena, Texas.
Yeah, there is. Every time you go into Google, it's like I have to type in CA in order to get, the restaurant that I want to find, not in Texas, but here.
So you guys started out, my club was out in Southgate, started in 37, right down from you guys. And just like you guys, we started out enduro off-road, and you guys were that for the longest time. And then you said you slowly transitioned to what you are now. So how was that transition going from dirt to street?
Well, I wasn't born. 33 and 34 is when we sponsored the Greenhorn Enduro. And then from 49 to 47 to 79, we that was when we did the latter part of the sponsorship. In 1980, we took it over as a Greenhorn road tour. So I don't know. I wasn't here when we transitioned, but yeah, the cops, the CHP said no more road. That's where
Enduro racing.
That's where District 37 came in, and now District 37 doesn't really exist, but well, it does, but it's not. They're not pushing for. They're not fighting. Yeah, they're not fighting as much as they are as they were, the last decades. Well, yeah, it would be. So we have a member, Dave Gogan, who would do the butt burner gold. So he'd do 1,500 miles in 24 hours, take a 6-hour nap, get back on his bike, do another 1,500 miles, and then knock it out done. And I mean, that's, if you've ever done at least 24 hours, you're looking at 1,000. That's usually the cap. But when he does 15 in 24 hours, that's insane. But also, no, I don't mean to talk over you guys because I never talk this much. But
no, he doesn't. He hasn't talked this much in all of our meetings this year,
ever. But what happened was he was on his way to work one morning on the 405, and he was in the fast lane, and he was going 70, I think 60, 70, and then he sees this jackass cutting over the side. He's like, "What's this?" A car. It's like, "Why is this jackass crossing the line?" Well, he didn't see the left line. So as soon as that car split over that line, there was a stopped truck, a stalled truck. He hit that at 70 miles an hour and then just did a tumble. So it was cement or asphalt, sky. He had to be a bird lifted out, broke 50 pieces of bone in his leg, was in a breather. When we showed up to see him, he was, he couldn't see you. He was out. And then gets back on the bike and does these 1,500 24-hour with give or take 7 years later, he's doing some tree work in his yard.
Yeah.
He stabs his eye with a twig, pulls his eyeball out.
This guy's amazing.
He's like, "Honey, I think I need to go to the doctor." So I don't think he called the ambulance. I think she drove him to the hospital.
Yeah, he wouldn't call
with his eyeball in his hand.
No way.
The guy can still, So Drifter, the guy can still ride faster than most of our guys with one eye.
Let me give you a challenge. You both ride, of course. So go do some twisties and and put one eye out and see how you're doing with depth perception. I couldn't. He's a legend. He's one of the greats.
Yeah.
Sounds like a guy I want to get to know.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, he's one of the guys that also moved out of state. So.
So we got the Boston chapter, Pasadena.
Okay.
Tennessee. We have Tennessee.
We have, Boston.
We'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of. I'm sorry, Drifter. Go ahead.
Well, since you brought up the Greenhorn, so for our listeners that know nothing about it, what is the Greenhorn run?
Well, as it was back in the day, an enduro ride, it's now a road ride. So basically, we do 500 to 700 in 2 days. Excuse me. The first day, this last 2 weeks ago, we did our pre-ride. So essentially, it's a 2-day ride. There's an overnight, a location we like to go and all hang out. And then there's a second day ride. So maybe it's 500 miles the first day and maybe 4 back the second day. This year, I can say where we're going, right? Yeah. We're going to Cambria this year. But what we do is we really try and take all roads outside of freeway. So back roads, twisties, dirt. So this year, the last 2 years, we've incorporated the enduro part. So we have an enduro section that those that want to take that enduro can branch off and do the enduro section of the ride. But this year is going to be fun.
Go ahead.
No, you can cut me off.
But I'm going to cut you off. Just to piggyback on that, and each year we have a different chairman for this ride. So each year you have this inspiration to create the perfect ride, and all the rider has to do is go follow a sheet. But I mean, we have a lot of artists, and we're talking about making a ride, different roads. They're going to hit this lighting at certain times and to send down this mountain. Nice. It's a magical experience. And every year it's different because we have,
is that something where the route isn't known until right before kickoff?
Correct. Yeah. The route is unknown. And when they get there, They get the route sheet, they tape it to their gas tank, and it's make a left in 2.3 miles, make a right. So it's a guided tour. And we're not really, we're not a social club. So literally, so we like to let everybody ride at their own pace. We're not a club that we're going to have 500 people all riding together. Everybody gets a route and we meet at the end and, have sparkling water.
Sparkling water.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a blast. You got to check it out.
Dave, next year.
Hey, if I could ever make it through the forest fires, I would have been there already. I already said I'm a polar bear. So if it was Arctic conditions, I'm in.
If it was hot, on a snowmobile,
it's hot and smoky. I'm out.
Yeah.
So other than the Greenhorn run, do you guys have any other annual events that are open like that to the public?
Yeah, we have our poker run, and that's what are we at? 40,
48,
47.
47.
That started
42nd.
42nd.
It started when the Greenhorn ended.
In 80.
The Enduro in
80, yeah.
So in 80.
So yeah, we do that. It's a smaller ride. It's a one-day ride, max 150 miles. Also on the back roads, avoid freeways. And then we have checkpoints like we do on the Greenhorn. We've kind of eliminated those on the Greenhorn, but we have 5 checkpoints: start, middle, 2 or 3 pieces, and then there's an end. Back in the day, the end would just be like, okay, you're here, go home. Now we're really trying to bring it as a place to stop and hang out and have a location to drink seltzer water.
Yeah, back in 2020, we implemented a different type of venue where everyone ended up in Sequoia Campground, and
nice.
It really. I thought it was a great year because it just brought a lot of camaraderie between people and clubs that we might not usually associate, and it was cool. So we're trying to be a little bit more social, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and to go back, sorry guys, on the Greenhorn, there's a couple other pieces that I forgot to mention. So back in the day, the competitiveness of the race was the whole ideal. It wasn't like it is for us. It was like, for us, it's just go and hang out and have a good time.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was a race. So Steve McQueen's stunt rider, Bud Eakins, he's been to the Clubhouse once or twice, just passed recently. But he won three years in a row, and that's Del Kuhn.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, Bud Eakins actually did it.
Dale Kuhn won it 3 times.
Del Kuhn won it 3 times.
Well, tell us about Del Kuhn, because I was going to bring him up as well.
Yeah, I think if anybody does any research, one of the first names that pops up associated is Del, who I think was something like a 3-time Greenhorn winner, and he's very prominent on the motor is it Grandfather Motocross website, and things like that. And so, but he actually started off in another club, was it the Compton Rough Riders, and then became an honorary member of your club. Is that right?
He did.
Correct.
And I think he won in 57, 58, and 61, 59, 61. Yeah. But yeah, that's what happened. And so I think this year it was the honorary Del Kuhn Greenhorn.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So that was well, that's what's going to happen in a week and a half.
Man, I can't wait.
And he's a special guy. We have some photos of us in the clubhouse with him, and I don't know if you guys have those, but we can send them to you.
Oh, we'll take anything you want to send.
Yeah,
anything.
And I think that kind of brings up a really good point. In reading about Pasadena MC and just that early motorcycle history in and around California, Southern California. This land speed records that were held, the endurance, you talk about really back when it was a competition, or the machines were so much different, and the act of going on a 500-mile, 700-mile overnight trip was just different. And when you start looking at some of the names that are associated with your club that are AMA Hall of Famers, there's really some legendary people in there. If you're somebody that's interested in early racing, early endurance trials, and things like that. There was Fred Ham, who was, I think they called it a 3 flags race. Is that right? Where it was the fastest time from Canada, the U.S. to Mexico.
Three corners. 3 flags, 3 corners. Yeah, and that was Fred Ham was a beast. I don't have much on Fred Ham. Do you?
I don't. No. I one thing I do have to incorporate in the future in racing. Here we go. There's some right there.
We've got. I mean, if you guys want to edit, right? But
yeah, we're bringing back the racing back into PMC, and that was one of my for the history and also the passion. I was racing amateur, and then now we're at the track a lot. A lot of the PMC members are at the racetrack, incorporating into amateur racing and moving into, I don't know, pro, but racing. And these Greenhorns were not easy. We also used to do hill climbs. 47 knuckleheads. Imagine riding across country on a rigid. I mean, it's these dudes were riding 500 miles. We're riding 500 miles on a road glide with extra 2 inches of suspension
and cup holders.
Yeah, and with a drink holder and all that. Yeah, so props to all that stuff that was going on. But we, as a club, luckily it's a very diverse club, and no one in the club is quite alike. And as another reason that drawn me to it. It's just different ventures, and luckily it's a great dynamic, and we're just propelling all avenues of motorcycles into it. Off-road, dirt, road racing, MotoGP, cross-country enduros, everything.
So something that Drifter and I have talked about before that his club has really been doing with other clubs, historical clubs on the East Coast, is bringing back racing. Dirt tracks, drags, whatever have you. Really been making a push for what I call maybe down-home racing. Find a track, find a spot, run what you brung, sort of things. And when somebody looks at the history involved, again, with your club and with some of those early names, there's a lot of similarities and things that tie in. And it sounds almost like you're bringing or trying to bring a lot of that back. When we look at the Big Bear, there's a lot of Pasadena MC members that are associated with winning early Big Bear races. There's stories of winning Jack Pine Hill climbs, which is, for those that don't know, is part of the Sturgis legacy. And so I think it's really cool to have you guys all here in these very old historical and clubs that have such rich history, talking about, hey, we're getting back to or incorporating more of this stuff. And I don't know if there's a question there, but I just think that hearing you guys talk about that is just awesome. And knowing what Drifter and his area has done, again, for the racing, off-roading, and that kind of stuff is just a cool throwback.
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah, Dave, that's right. You talked about that because Bird McKinney was he was one of the pioneers of the hill climb. And what they used in the day was basically the DAH. It was an experimental model from Harley, a DAH model, based on the 750cc, but it was really only 45. And they only made 25 of those. So I think he won. He killed it with like 7.2 seconds on the DAH. Sorry, if I can enunciate.
That's wicked.
But yeah, it's also it's
wearing the race sweaters too.
Yeah,
and we have these old race sweaters and
well, let's see it. I know you got one.
Can you hand me that? Can you hand me that?
Well, if you put the air on, you can wear it, but it's too hot.
You gotta.
I'm burning up. That's why my brain's melting. Yeah.
Can you see this?
So that's the back, right? Is that the front or the back?
Back, and then you got the front with the zipper. I ended up sewing in thumb holes in mine, but it's short, so it doesn't go into the. And we have a company that makes these. That man, they got to be from the 20s. Broadway Knitting, downtown LA.
Oh, there's
and
another.
They're still making them like they were making them.
There's another very large company, large motorcycle club that still wears sweaters. I won't mention them. They're a 1%er, but they also get them from there.
Broadway Knitting. Yeah.
That's the OG spot.
That makes sense. But yeah, we're, very importantly, just proposing motorcycling and a gentlemanly way of motorcycling, I guess. We're not 1%ers like you had mentioned. We're more of a, what did you guys identify us as? What kind of club? Not a 1% club, but a heritage club.
Heritage club, yeah.
Yeah, heritage club.
So speaking of that, you guys are, by definition, from the AMA, a historical club. Charter number 14, is that correct?
14, correct, yeah.
So I get, for listeners, why not Charter 3?
That's a good question. So
Yeah.
the problem was that we would have actually been, I think, in top 5. But I think we hesitated, and we would have, if in line, there was something within our submission or whatever it was, but we would have been in the top 5 if we'd done it.
Sure. And for those that don't know, obviously, you guys are obviously much older than the actual AMA. So you would have been involved with the precursor to the AMA, and then I guess when the AMA started giving out or numbering charters and things like that. But have you? I feel like I've talked before on different episodes that there's almost a change in the perception or the way business is done with the AMA. I feel like maybe there was a period of time where the AMA was more involved in the motorcycle club scene in the early 1900s. Then maybe there was a negative connotation with the AMA as we move into a different era, maybe the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, whatever have you. But I think recently, the AMA is doing an overhaul, or at least trying, in its image. As an AMA historical club, is that something you even have an opinion on, something that you've seen or anything like that? Are clubs like yours involved in kind of helping it change or shape its image?
Well, we have so many colors, not physical colors, but the diversity and characters in our club that have their own opinions. I have mine based on it. AMA got shut down by a lot of the clubs that were happening in the 60s during the. Hi, is that better? I don't like the mic.
Sorry, bro.
Is that voice better though? I can go
speak
deeper
into
if
that.
Works. Anyway, yeah. So
Come on. We can hardly hear him anyway.
These guys can hear me in this.
No, you
Where's
can't.
this bullhorn?
Yeah. So we don't have a lot of. There's not a lot of discussion on the AMA in our club. We just now that we received a historical patch that we're putting in our vests, but we haven't made any strides to work with them or further, our club with the AMA.
Yeah, and to piggyback on the reality of why we're 14, are we 14?
We're 14, yeah.
My inclination on that would be that, we were well before the AMA. And if you know Pasadena Motorcycle Club now, I'm sure it hasn't changed much. We're, slightly disorganized in some ways. And so we're slow on the gun on some things. What the hell? Is there somebody at the door?
Well, also too, though, back in the day, it was all posted, so now it was email or,
we're out riding and we're not joining motorcycle associations. We are the motorcycle association.
Oh, I love that. That's the quote right there.
That's a good one.
That's the episode. That's the episode banner. That's the headline right there. That's the clickbait.
So, can you explain y'all's emblem, the crown with it looks like a key?
So that's the city's emblem. We took that early on, and then I think the city itself, of course, if you see on the city trucks and the city hall and whatnot, that's the city's covers. That's the city's emblem. So you're riding next to trash trucks or cops or the fire department. They all have the same logo, so it's nice. And he was in when I met him. So when I remember driving up to the club, and we have a little bump, it's like it's a testament of your riding skills. And I remember pulling up on the side, and he's like, "It's okay, you can come up." And I was on a.
This is to get to our clubhouse.
Yeah, and I was on a Triumph.
Yeah, it's in the video you sent us.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, we actually modified that to make it smoother. But back when I joined, the thing was like a dip. You're definitely scraping your bottom oil pan on it. But
that's fun.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, right on, man. So, hey, where does the PMC fit in today's motorcycle world? I mean, it's very different from what it was in 1907. Where do you guys fit in today?
Well, I think we're kind of changing the definition of social clubs, riding clubs. We just encompass being together as brothers, have a respect for motorcycles. We ride. We put on events that are going to make you white knuckle.
White knuckle.
White knuckle. I mean, Black
better
Mountain.
be a rider.
Better be a rider.
Going up to Black Mountain, better be a rider.
Leave your diapers at home. Right?
No diapers.
But yeah, I mean, we're also reestablishing ourselves. We've had a lot of change in the last 14 years that I've been in the club that haven't been easy for, I think, a lot of us. You know, again, as I showed up, it was just 5 guys, motorhomes and a couple Harley road glides, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Gold wings. But they in itself, you know, when I joined, it was, you know, 80%, what do you call them?
Old spokes.
Old spokes. And then maybe 2%. Yeah. And then 10% of us younger spokes. And now I'm the old spoke. So I'm actually at an age where one of our lunch guys is, I'm at the age when I came to the club. I'm actually older than he is now when he was when I came in the club. But there's always that transition and that change that needs to happen. So
I think we bridge the gap really well between
the
LA moto community.
Well,
right.
I could touch on that. Currently, I mean, it is. We're still running with Robert's Rules of Order, and we just really have been trying to update the Constitution since the 80s. Since the last modification.
Yeah, no, last one was 2011.
But major mod, like constitutional mod. This was huge.
This was the major change.
So imagine you got 100,000-year-old club, and we're trying to implement new technology, Facebook, Instagram, social media, and but the one thing that we're not really promoting is let's do a bunch of rides and have 100, 200 bikes show up. And it's really a special experience. And we don't want to let go of the tradition, but yet we're trying to subtly creep into the modern age. It's a real razor's edge on getting too far into today's world of motorcycling and keeping our history. So we're trying to keep that really in balance.
Yeah.
I like what you talked about too with Robert's Rules of Order. That's something that we've talked about on the show before, and we've had such a variety of clubs mention it. Every walk of life club, from AMA clubs to 1% clubs to riding clubs, et cetera, have mentioned utilizing, and learning from Robert's Rules of Order. So I think once, if you're in the motorcycle club scene or something like that, or just you're into groups and being in something that's going to function with order, I think having the more people tell you that they find value in something, the more it sticks. And so to hear men like yourself talk about utilizing Robert's Rules of Orders, I think just gives validity to anybody else that talks about, hey, this is a beneficial.
It's crucial.
Guide.
If you want to get anything done, imagine a bunch of crazy buffoons running around. There's nothing going to happen. You have to have Robert to bring you back to reality so that you can write shit down and get shit done and put a plaque on your wall. If you don't do it, we're just going to hang around and drink beer all night.
We're still trying to work on that as well. We still are drinking too much beer.
Yeah.
And we still have to maintain order, and we're still struggling.
It's absolutely, it's imperative to have some kind of a structure where you can propel into the future. We're not trying to propel into the future at 50%. We're just trying to do like 2%, keep it right in the balance.
Well, that's also why we trying to keep our Constitution real, not overloaded and oversaturated with rules. So I think that's something we worked on this year. I can't say it backfired, but there was some kickback on some things. But yeah,
come on, we still have quarter fines. All right?
Yeah, okay, but you guys did
see to update that.
But you guys saw that.
Yeah, 25-cent fine. I mean, we had to update that.
Yeah, but Drifter and Dave, you've seen the gavel that Swoop sent you. Obviously, there's been some.
The gavel has been epoxied back together many times.
I'm surprised
it's down hard.
No, and the gavel plate. The gavel plate's also split in half. So maybe that's
one of my favorite old motorcycle club stories, and maybe you guys would know better than I if it's true or not. There is a story that you can Google somewhere that says during the Great San Francisco earthquake, the San Francisco MC was holding a dance or something to that effect. And during the earthquake, one of the members ran back inside to retrieve the gavel and bring it back out, and that it's still in their clubhouse today. I love that story. I have no idea if that's a bullshit biker story or if that's real. Maybe do you guys have? Is that real?
We're gonna implement that story.
We're gonna find out.
Bringing that story
screw it. Just tell me it's real. Just tell me.
You gotta ask him.
No, we'd love to have the answer for that, but I need to find out myself.
We'll make a call tonight. The reality of that shit.
You know what? If I can ever go down that rabbit hole of Google, and you really do. You have to be a nerd, which I am, to get that many pages. There's only Pornhub and Google is as deep as I will get on those pages. But if I can find it, I will definitely send it to verify where I got that story from. But I know long ago it was something that I read.
That's rad. What a cool story.
That is rad.
Their clubhouse is awesome.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate SFMC a lot and all the other older spoke clubs in the nation, and definitely we definitely collaborate together quite often.
What are we going to grab if there's an earthquake in our clubhouse?
Our clubhouse isn't going anywhere.
No, man. We have a Quonset hut.
No,
it's good.
We got to grab that wrench off the desk because that's been there since.
Yeah, we got to grab that 4-inch wrench that's hanging off the desk.
No, it's not.
Sure. So there's a good
4-inch box.
There's a good lead in. Like, what's kind of the most memorable artifact or historical piece that really holds special meaning for the club? If you want to share that's still around.
There's so many. I mean, we have a back room files and stuff, and that's what I was speaking of before. Actively working with the Pasadena Museum of History so we can get those things into a vault, and that's a priority for me as the historian to make sure that everything is archived and safe in the event of a catastrophic situation.
The fellowship band.
Yeah, that too. But we have trophies as well. A lot of trophies.
We have old stuff.
Del Kuhn's trophies and
irreplaceable stuff.
Yeah. How have you guys seen just the city of Pasadena change as being something that's so iconic and over 100 at 115 years of history? Some of your older members have passed down, or maybe pictures you found in your archives. How have you seen the city change around the Pasadena Motorcycle Club?
Sirens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to go?
Shootings.
Yeah. So
shootings and taxes.
Yeah. So last meeting we had, we just wrapped at 9, and we hear sirens. The streets blocked off, and someone got shot, killed in the driveway just a block up from our
Dang. Yeah.
So
it used to be orange groves and just
it used to just be orange groves and fields, and now it's the Raymond Street over was one of the. There was also a shooting that happened like a year and a half ago where the passenger got out, had a gun and ran off, and they shot him. It's just the area itself has been it's unfortunate. It's a nice area, but there's pockets like every town.
Yeah, it's just this.
But it's not Orange Grove Fields, like we like it. We can just.
I don't know. I mean, what we've, seeing the change in Pasadena, I would like to ask like Dale Kuhn, or somebody who had seen Pasadena when it did have orange groves, because, all I've been doing is, there's always been an Apple store in Pasadena as far as I remember.
Yeah, on Colorado Boulevard, right?
So I don't know what the hell's going on in Pasadena. I just know I ride through it blazing.
That's you. That's what you do. Well, we can't ask Dale because he's passed, but we can ask. We can try and ask Dick Smith, but he's also having a hard time. So there's only a few of us left.
It's just like any city; it's changing. There's good, there's bad, there's crime, there's not. Depends on where you're at. We just happen to be in a sector that's slightly special and challenged.
I thought this was going to be like, we're older than the Rose Bowl, but it's like we have bodies dropping everywhere. We're just dropping bodies out here.
It doesn't matter how old we are, still the bodies are going to drop.
We have members that would drive the Rose Bowl float. Who was that?
Tim Orban.
Tim Orban drove the Rose Bowl floats for years.
A lot of us did. It was like the PMC thing to do back in the day, where we'd actually drive.
That was a service we did. driving the floats, driving the horses.
And if you've ever seen those floats up close and see the drive wheel, it's like
It's no joke.
You are like 2 feet off the ground, and you're in this little box with this like a 4-inch by 4-inch hole to look out, and you're in like this little go-kart wheel. It's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts.
So who's the oldest old spoke, MC time-wise, not age-wise?
Tim?
Oh, time-wise. Well, Dick Smith would be. Dick Smith, who's in he's close to being in a hospice, but right now he's at home, having trouble,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
functioning mentally. But yeah, we've had a lot of passing in the club, but he is the oldest at this time.
Was it 60 years?
Yeah. We've got some great old pictures of him too.
Yeah.
We've had some.
Yeah,
passing.
We're coming and we're going, man.
That question is
what's up.
good about how Pasadena has changed because our clubhouse used to be right in Old Town.
Yeah, and we moved up, which would have been right on.
How could a motorcycle club be in Old Town?
No
Old
way.
Town is all commercial now.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to make it in Old Town.
No, and they also
parking next to the Apple Store.
Yeah, right. And I think at the time too, it was nicer up, in the Orange Grove field. So it was like, wow, this is we're close to the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the opposite. So, but we adapt. We're fine. We don't.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's fine.
Now, is that what you're talking about? The old clubhouse before this one? Is that kind of famous picture that has all the bikes out front? It almost looks like a storefront, and then the Pasadena Motorcycle Club sign is kind of above. Is that building?
Yeah, it's on Green Street in Pasadena in Old Town.
Yeah, that photograph is archived at the Pasadena Museum of History.
Is that building still standing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Coffee.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's not an Apple store.
No,
You can get a latte with extra cinnamon there.
you can. That's true. Yeah.
I feel like maybe you guys should just get
Soy
together and
latte.
recreate that one with a cup of coffee.
That would be rad. We did a recreation at the Rose Bowl. Who organized that? Todd
Yeah,
Hodge.
he's good at that.
Yeah.
'Cause
He's a good organizer, that guy.
Now, talk about the picture we recreated.
That one at the Rose Bowl. Yeah, we all lined up in front of the Rose Bowl, created a really nice panoramic photo of that scene. That was when was that original photo taken? Anyone?
28.
It was before 30. Yeah, it was before 30.
Wow, it was being built.
Yeah.
And it was being built. Yeah, I think we're older than the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
That's cool.
I feel old, but I'm not.
I'm not.
You're not quite at having your meals put into the minutes yet.
No, we're not.
No, it's just I get old when the air's off. That's why I'm old.
We had to turn the air off. It had too much frequency interflux.
No, Dave, I'm not that close. I'm close, but not that close. I think in mind and mental stability or state, yeah.
He just needs a megaphone when he talks. Usually, no one can hear him.
Ginger's
If the president has to raise his voice, then something's wrong.
Oh my God! Yeah,
That's my gift to you.
The gavel will more than split in half. I guarantee it.
Have you heard me yell?
Not in all the years I've known you, man. You're diplomatic, man. You're calm and collected.
Yeah, that's a bad thing when I go.
Right on. So you guys I sent the portion of our newsletter from 1940 where my club's talking about you guys. We actually apologized to you guys because only 3 of our guys showed up to one of your runs. And so have you guys seen that?
Yeah, we did see that.
Yeah, okay.
Apologize. So we appreciate that. That was a very, very sweet thing to do. But
Yeah.
I think that's what sparked us connecting.
And we saw that.
Yeah, we saw that, and that's why I think we reached out for that purpose.
yeah.
So it's I think it was a godsend that happened.
Yeah. That is very cool. So
Hey, Drifter, for anybody listening that maybe hasn't heard the story, can you kind of give us? I know you were telling me about it a little bit earlier. Can you kind of just give us a background on the letter and the story and that whatnot?
So in 38, 39, 40, all the way to probably early 50s, 13 Rebels put out a newsletter for all of Southern California motorcycle clubs. And in the 1940 issue that we have, the editor sent out he wrote an article about you guys, the PMC, and that he was very apologetic that my club only sent 3 riders to your big event. and that was unacceptable, and that will never happen again. And you guys always do such a great job putting on these events. We're going to make sure that we show up in force next time because you guys have always supported our races. And it was just falling all over himself to try and let you guys know that that's not going to happen again. So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Back in 1940, our two clubs knew each other, and then here we are today talking on this new medium. I just think that's just fucking cool.
Yeah, it's surreal. I mean, that was part of the pullback in our club when I joined, of technology and what you can do, what we were capable of. But when I saw that I think that was a pivotal point in realizing, I mean, many things of brothership, and I think reaching out was amazing. So that was a cool
really
story.
glad you guys agreed to this.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us. We're happy to talk to you. I appreciate what you're doing as well.
And I'm not sure, and I don't feel insulted at all if somebody says they've never heard of our show before or never listened to any of the episodes. It doesn't bother me at all. But one of the things that I always say that I really enjoy about this is that we get a chance to have conversations with historical figures like your club. And we get to have Drifter, who's part of his historical club, chasing down historical artifacts and letters like that and things like that. And then we also have, I don't know the right term, but contemporary guys that are in big, well-known, large clubs, whether they're outlaw clubs or mom and pop clubs, vet clubs, 1% clubs, whatever. There's a little bit of everything that gives an insight on our podcast that we're all friends with and have contributed to this podcast. And so I think it gives a little bit insight of everything. And for me, obviously, Drifter, we're nerds. We love the history aspect. Is always going to be our bag and what we love. But I just love the opportunity to present your story. And then I don't know why, but let's say that that's not everybody's cup of tea for somebody else listening. They know that next week there's going to be a different topic with different folks talking about maybe something that is prevalent to them. I hope everybody embraces and loves the historical aspect, but it's just something that I've always loved about this project that we work on is having those different facets coming together. And so again, it's redundant, but I can't thank you guys enough for giving your time and for sharing your stories. And the listeners will see that you guys were gracious enough to send over a really great video that kind of gives a tour and all this other stuff. And I'm really excited to incorporate that into this production.
So we've been here for about an hour now recording it. So we're going to kind of turn it over to you guys. What do you want the world to know about the Pasadena Motorcycle Club?
Or the 10 people that listen to this, either or.
You have something? You want me to go?
Get it, man.
Okay. So I think one of the things you asked us early on was how, I guess, what we're trying to do. Well, you're asking it again, but it's finding the identity of a club. And, between being social, being writing, our goal is just to bring people together that appreciate motorcycles, that want to have a good time. And we pretty much accept everybody. So, those that have that passion and interest in riding with people and meeting new people, and then also contributing to what they have in their life to our club. I think that's it. We're not looking for trouble. We're not on the road trying to cause chaos. Again, we do cause chaos when we ride, but like as far as crime, no. But
so if somebody wanted to contact you guys, how could they get hold of you?
Let me add to that. That's a good segue into we're very accepting. We do have a perspective process, and then we meet on Mondays. And there's a prospecting scenario and process that's evolved, and making sure that we're all fitting and on the same frequency. That's
important.
But ultimately, it's two wheels delivers your soul, and it's very accepting. However, it isn't like an easy scenario to become part of it. We really have to know if you're into the idea of motorcycling the way we are.
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose of a prospect period. Good job.
2 wheels, 2 diapers.
Yeah, 2 wheels, 2 tacos,
Two diapers. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 wheels, 2 souls.
Yeah. So you have 2 tacos, you have to have 2 diapers. You have 3 tacos and a burrito, you have to have 5 diapers.
Oh man, we're going with that now. Here we go. We're adding all this shit to the
You got to
minute.
put something funny in there, right?
I thought we had the headline already, but that might be.
No,
It is. Yeah,
we have to have 2 of them.
we didn't want to join.
Two
we didn't
headlines,
want to
guys.
join a motorcycle organization.
No,
We are the motorcycle
But we're there Monday nights at 8 o'clock. We open our
come
doors
on
up.
down and let's ride. We'll
But
take
you have to
the
be there
black
by 8 because bodies drop at 9.
No, that too. But if you're over a minute or 2 seconds
You
late,
got a
I'll
25-cent fine.
I'll stab somebody.
Whoa, 25 cents.
Yeah.
Hey, slow your
If you're
roll
a minute
there,
late,
big guy.
dude.
What's a dollar?
If you're a minute, it went up to $1.
What's a dollar?
Oh,
$1?
Doesn't change it.
so come on down. We want to talk to you.
I don't know. You guys play by prison rules. I don't know.
We play by prison rules. Yeah, but Dave, that was funny. Yeah, get in by 8 or you're shot by 9.
We appreciate you guys though.
And like, for anybody that's we joke that 10 people listen to this, but I'm always amazed that like we have listeners that are in Australia, we have listeners in England.
Brazil.
We might only have 10 in the States, but we've got at least 5 more overseas. And if nobody's ever deep dive into early motorcycle club history, whether it's the very first motorcycle club, which came out of London, England, or San Francisco Yonkers, or you guys.
Yonkers gonna be mad if you say that.
They're the first U.S., but the first motorcycle club ever came out of England. But you guys really do have the names that are associated with your club. If anybody wants to nerd out on that, there's just some legendary figures that are, Hall of Famers in racing, endurance. They were doing the Big Bear runs. They're doing all these land speed records, even regardless if they've been broken. Thinking about, I think you mentioned earlier, what they were doing on these bikes in 1932 while I'm riding my 2020 Harley road glide, today is just amazing. And so, the flat track racing names and the early editors to kind of what we do now. There was members of Pasadena MC that were editors for Motorcycle Magazine?
American Motorcyclist Magazine.
A very old historical motorcycle publication. And so I just think there's really some awesome names associated with that. And I encourage people to check that out.
Cool, guys.
And I think once you start nerding out on it, just the way it connects. I mean, like I said, from the Jack Pine Gypsies to the Greenhorns to all these other kind of legendary things that people have heard about, seeing how it all connects in the early days and it's kind of transpired today, I always find very cool. And I think you guys are doing an awesome job of preserving that and promoting it forward.
It's impressive, Dave. Yeah, your knowledge and your interest in it's I respect that. Thank you.
You know what? My wife doesn't find me attractive, but I'm a good nerd.
Well, you're sexy.
Yeah, you're nerding out.
Wait, what was that in the background?
That was my wife in the background.
Laughing.
Can you put that knife away, please?
Yeah, it's not 9 o'clock yet, guys. Come on, it's only 7. No one's gonna
Who has to go to the bathroom? Yeah,
Yes,
we
do.
showed that already.
You took a
Get
break.
out of here.
Yeah, you took a break.
No, it's good. It just kind of floats in the background.
It's like a ghost, bro.
Yeah.
I think the
Here it
producer wants to
goes.
get in. Yeah.
But yeah, we do. Our shows are always an hour, so we've taken up an hour and now minute 30 of your time. If you've got any last parting words, we'll definitely give the floor to you guys. But other than that, obviously our thank you from the whole staff here for doing this for us.
All right, thank you too.
Yeah, no, Drifter Dave, I think we're good. We appreciate your time, man.
Yeah,
we
man.
really do.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll let you get out of here and get back to those. What is it? It's sparkling water, right?
Sparkling water
Yeah,
and
with
some
a little bit
sangria.
with a little twist.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and you as well, Drifter.
All right.
Tacos for everybody.
Yeah,
Over and
and
out.
diapers.
Thanks, guys.
You guys are awesome.